Hello, I'm Emily Guille-Marrett and this is Charlotte Raby, and we are delighted to be the new series editors of Big Cat Phonics for Letters and Sounds. It's something we're very passionate about. Big Cat is a series that's been around for a very long time with a wonderful host of authors and illustrators, and it has a huge range of talent. So when Charlotte and I were asked if we would get involved in helping to create books for young children and reception in Year 1 in particular, we were obviously delighted.
And today, very excitingly, we've got 5 spreads from our earliest readers, and these are beautiful wordless books.
So it particularly supports phase 1 of Letters and Sounds. We feel passionately that phase 1 is often not given the attention that it deserves, and it's so critical, that early stage, to give children the foundation for learning to read with phonics.
So these books are utterly beautiful. We've got amazing illustrators, and the 5 spreads we're going to show you today are just sumptuous. This is the I Spy Nursery Rhymes book, and it's been illustrated by Amanda Enright.
So you can see here, this particular spread, the whole story begins with Jack and Jill going up the hill to fetch a pail of water.
There's Jack and Jill.
And they then have a wonderful adventure through the whole of the nursery rhyme world. And the idea here is, we believe I Spy is a brilliant game to play with phonics, and we've taken that theme through all of our first 6 books, and here we're encouraging the children and the readers to look at this glorious spread, see what nursery rhymes they might already know.
So we've got Horsey Horsey, and that's Old MacDonald. You can see his farm behind him. We've got the Crooked Man, look at him there, and the Crooked House, and the Crooked Cat, and the Crooked...
There's the Crooked Mile.
Yep.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary, and of course the old woman who lived in a shoe and had so many children she didn't know what to do. And you can immediately see there why nursery rhymes are so important for phonics, with all that lovely rhyme.
And in fact, in our teacher's notes, we're going to ensure that you've got all those nursery rhymes there for you, so that the children can learn them, because nursery rhymes are crucial in developing children's understanding of language, of rhythm, and of rhyme.
I think sometimes when people talk about phonics, they forget about the fact that nursery rhymes also, not only do they have that lovely rhyme, but that lovely rich vocabulary that you were talking about is so important. And when you've got all of these wonderful pictures, that's a fantastic opportunity. And of course it inspires, with lovely illustrators like this, it really inspires children to want to read the books.
And this is something we're going to talk about again and again, but these very detailed, beautifully illustrated books, what the children are doing is that they're learning how to read. They're learning how to look at the whole picture, what's the whole picture saying to me, but also what are the details doing. And in fact, that's exactly what we do when we read. We hold the whole picture of the story in our minds, and then we look at the details on the page. And this is just so exciting. There's so many stories I want to tell about all the characters in here, Emily. I love it.
And imagine how many children are going to be talking about those sounds that the animals are making.
Yes. So
okay.
Our next one, there we go, that's Bye Bye I Spy.
Bye Bye I Spy.
This beautiful one is also looking at nursery rhymes, but this is number fun. So each of the spreads in this beautiful book have got illustrations by... Ooh, we haven't written the name of the illustrator. I'm very sorry. They've got illustrations of different nursery rhymes to do with different numbers. So this is the number 2.
And that also shows, which is really brilliant with Big Cat, all of the Big Cat books have really strong cross-curricular links. And here, obviously, we're looking at maths and numeracy. So the children have an opportunity, and you have an opportunity to work with them to find as many different things that have the number 2. So 2 birds. And of course, you'll see immediately, all of you early years teachers who absolutely love nursery rhymes, you'll immediately see opportunities. There's 2 little dicky birds. We've got, there's the teddy bear in their little garden.
Round and round the garden.
Like a teddy bear. And we also make sure that throughout the whole book, there are lots of opportunities for sounds. Choo-choo with the train. Meow, said the cat. Bzzz, said the bees. So really, it's amazing what a wordless book can do. And this is not something that is just for young children, although we are, through wordless books, giving children the opportunity to gain a whole range of reading skills, holding the book correctly, turning the page, looking in detail, enjoying a book, finding pleasure from pictures, we know that inherently these books are giving them many opportunities for extending their vocabulary.
And we also know that nursery rhymes are really crucial in developing children's vocabulary. The language that we get in nursery rhymes, some of it's quite archaic and old, and it's a way to get into that, the heritage of our language. And we know that those characters in nursery rhymes pop up in children's literature again and again, or the ideas from them as well. So I think it's a really easy way to get into those ideas. It's a really beautiful way of learning to understand our literary heritage and where we're from. But Emily, I am just mesmerised by all the details. Have you seen the stag beetles there?
I know, they're so
glorious.
Beautiful. Actually, on all of that kind of whole thing of sounds, that makes me think it might be a really good opportunity to look at our lovely sound, the animal.
Oh, yes.
Books, all those animal sounds.
And this is, I have to say that I know one shouldn't have favourites, but I just adore the illustrations here by Lazio Veres. And I mean, we'll do one side at a time. Can you see those extraordinary, I mean, they're so detailed and exquisite, the pictures here of a rainforest. So in this book, we have landscapes with lots of different creatures from around the world. Some of them very familiar, like a farmyard. Some of them really unfamiliar. We've got Saudi Arabia, the desert haven't we, in there as well, and the Arctic and the Rockies.
I know, fantastic. We're thinking of people from all, animals and countries from all over the world. That's really important to us because we believe really strongly that children should be able to relate to their own culture and familiar things around them. So of course animals are familiar, but in different countries, different animals are familiar to everybody. And in here, no matter where you are, you will find something that is local to you, and then you're able to relate that to the wider world.
What I love about this I Spy in particular is that we're looking for detail. So if you see here, we've got a little look for this. So where is that? And it really is provoking you to look very closely in the picture to find whichever slithering creature that picture belongs to there. And some of them are much easier than others, aren't they? I mean, look at this gorgeous... Is that a cockatoo, Emily?
It does look like a cockatoo. It's so beautiful. Children will love the vibrant colours of this artwork style. And the other thing is that we talk about a lot is that it's not just the sounds that the animals make.
No.
Although find me a child that isn't going to want to go rah when they see when they see those pictures. But also it's the environmental sounds. And once children are able to link sounds around them in their environments, they're starting to link those to objects, to things and to animals. And that's really the beginning of phonics, isn't it?
It really is. And I think also the language development stuff that we've been talking about, vocabulary, think of the rich, very precise vocabulary children are going to gain from talking about this picture, Ems. I'm thinking about that lush, verdant green. We can talk about all the greens that are in here. We can talk about the water, all these creatures come into this water to be able to drink and live, and it's a habitat. We could talk about science with this. Yeah. We're getting really great tier 2 language, this wonderful, rich language that you don't get when we're just talking. This is going to provoke fantastic language development for children in reception. I would use this with Year 6.
Yeah.
I really would. I think it's so beautiful.
And actually that also is important in terms of children experiencing good quality picture books throughout primary. But that's not what we're here to talk about today.
Right, what have you got next?
Well, this one has to be one of my favourites.
Oh, I know it is.
So this is The Sound Walk by Susanna Guerrea, who's the illustrator. And Charlotte and I, we wrote this because we were looking at very detail at the Phase 1 curriculum. And of course, every spread here... This was inspired by the fact that one of my children had a really fantastic teacher who loved taking the children on sound walks, and they used to make giant paper ears and when they started, big BFG ears when they went around reception, and they had to listen for sounds. And so every spread is here to support all those teachers that are wanting to do that with their children. So there's sounds around the home, sounds around town, and this one was a carnival, and of course, obviously, when you're doing phonics, instruments and listening to sounds and being able to link a drum to what a drum is, and hearing those sounds is so important. Bit like early rhyme, music has all those important foundations for learning to read with phonics. So let's just have a look at some of the instruments that we can see. So can you find the trumpet? Can you find the trumpet? There it is. Oh, and the children have to look. Toot toot. There it is.
And wait a second, because these are my favourite. Look, there they are.
The ukulele bumblebees.
Yes, they must be having a lovely time.
You'll find something that we're really proud of with, having been asked to be part of Big Cat is we feel very, very passionately. There's a fantastic campaign that many of you will be familiar with, #WeNeedDiverseBooks.
Yeah.
We feel very passionately that every child should find someone like themselves.
Yes, you need to find yourself in a book,
because why would you be a reader if you feel excluded from that? So even though the level of detail that we've thought about, they're phonics books, but we've actually worked with the team to really ensure that they are very rich, they're diverse, and they're engaging for every child.
And I do think that when we've made these books, particularly the sound walk, we've tried to think of experiences that children have, that they are familiar with, that they're not difficult, they're not in any way special. No. Every child is going to know what it's like to be at school. Every child's going to know what it's like to be doing some music type of activities in school. And going to the park and all those things that are really familiar to us. And I think that that's really important. And I was just thinking about this spread, and I was thinking about also the children learning. You were talking about how rhythm and rhyme happens, but actually the things like a beat of a drum is really important, isn't it? Because that's a way. I was thinking about how words work and how later on we teach children syllabification of words.
Yes.
And actually it's just like hearing the beat of a drum is hearing the sounds and the words, but also hearing the syllables in the words. Yeah. So it's kind of an early preparation for fluency later on.
Well, with all of that, we give so much advice in our teaching handbooks to go alongside. Well, there's the inside cover notes that go with every single book, but also we've worked really hard on the teaching handbook so that ideas like that, activities for busy teachers, they're all in there, everything that you could possibly need, and worksheets to accompany every book. So we've had fun pulling all of those ideas together for everyone.
Oh, this reminds me, so I live near Brighton, reminds me of the children's parade.
Oh,
I just
gorgeous.
love that. Right, what's our last one, Ems?
So this one is I Spy Fairy Tales.
You're bringing it up nice and close so you can see it.
So this is illustrated by Deborah Partington, and we had so much fun.
This was so much fun writing this, because we're massive fans of fairy tales. I adore fairy tales, and they're crucial. They're crucial in helping children connect to children's literature. So there are so many children's books, aren't there, that have got fairy tale characters in them. Each Peach Pear Plum is one of our favourites.
By the Allbergs, absolutely.
And then there's The Very Littles by Teresa Heapy. And all these beautiful stories where the messed up fairy tales, where, was it the Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig?
Yes.
And those kind of titles. Now, a child isn't going to understand that unless they understand the origin stories, these wonderful stories that all this craziness comes from.
I think as well, there's such a pattern with fairy tales that they actually also give children not only a great foundation for accessing the canon of children's literature, but also to feel themselves as readers. Yeah. You find me a child who can't tell you many of who these characters are, and you know what's lovely is if they can't tell you who they are, they're going to know that there's a book out there that they can read that's going to tell them, and so you're then encouraging reading. Yes. We really want to encourage children to want to read other books through our books.
We know that children who read for pleasure are going to do better. They're going to. If they enjoy reading, they're going to read more. If they read early, they will read more. Children who read more do better anyhow in school. And also, they have the solace of these beautiful books. But, I was thinking that if I was to look at this as a child, I would feel so much wonderful familiarity. I'd feel a sense of, oh, look, it's the beanstalk, and I know, oh, there he is, there's a giant. So I'm reading the whole story, but I'm reading and making connections to the world that I know. If it's a child in my class who doesn't know this, well, I have got an absolute imperative to go out and read these stories to the children. So either way, it's a win, isn't it? That we're going to make sure that this pleasure
is enjoyed by everyone. And actually that's a really good point, because this character you won't be familiar with because this character goes all the way through the book, and is actually a little girl. The whole story starts in her room.
Yes.
So we never know whether this story is her imagination taking her off on this journey, or does she have a magic brush that actually does create this world that she goes through. And it's inspired by so many fairy tales, but all the way through, little items from the fairy tale characters are lost, aren't they?
Yes.
And she collects them in her bag. So I wonder which fairy tale she's picked the 3 spoons from.
Could it be 3
yes,
bears?
Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
Or what about this golden ball? Is this what she's going to pick up here, do you think?
That's what's going to come in a minute.
Yeah.
Frog Prince. So all of these little elements, the children are going to have so much fun. And we know there are such wonderful children's book writers and illustrators. Anthony Brown sort of inspired us with this one. We were thinking about The Journey by Aaron Becker. And throughout all of the phonics books, at every level that we've written, we've also linked all these books to other really well-known, much-loved contemporary and classic children's books, so that we can really help to give children the foundation in phonics to be successful readers, but also to nurture that love of reading for life, because it is so important.
You know what, when you're learning to read, it's not easy, and our books, we were determined that they would be the best, that these books would really entice children into being readers, to help them really enjoy that reading process, so that it's a pleasure. Because if something's a pleasure, then you're going to put the effort in, and they deserve the very best books there are. And I think you can see today that I'm so proud, Ems. I'm so proud of these beautiful books. We're delighted, and this is just the beginning. That's what's really exciting, because there's more to come, and I hope we get to show them to you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.